Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to your Daily Penguin. This is my on again, off again tour of all the Penguin classics that have ever been in my life, which is lots and lots of Penguin classics. And we are going back today to Virgil's Aeneid, which we've talked about on Daily Penguin a couple of times. This is another Penguin classic of Virgil's Aeneid. As far as I know, at the moment, they have four versions of the Aeneid in their lineup currently that you can buy. And this is the Robert Fagles translation. Robert Fagles will be familiar to you as the translator of the Iliad. Fagles did the Iliad and the Odyssey, and his Iliad was a massive hit for Penguin Classics. Massive. In the Black Spine trade paperback that they did, and then in a Penguin Classic Deluxe edition. And Fagles followed that up with an Odyssey, and then he did the Aeneid because that is viewed as the hat trick. That is the three-part publishing thing that classicists tend to do. Modern classicists tend to do. They strike it rich with an Odyssey and they do an Iliad. They strike it rich with an Iliad, they do an Odyssey, and then they finish it up with the Aeneid in order to make a box set that can sell at Christmas time. This has always been weird to me, a little bit. That has always been a little bit strange to me. Because the Aeneid, of course, is a Latin epic. It's not in Greek, and it takes a lifetime of learning to feel comfortable wanting to translate Homer. It's always struck me as a little bit odd, maybe even sometimes a little bit suspect, when so many of these high-profile translators switch from what must have been the lifetime discipline of learning and relearning Greek to Latin in order to translate the Aeneid. It's always struck me more as a marketing gimmick than something real. And it makes me suspect. It makes these books suspect when I come across them. But nevertheless, the Fagles Aeneid is really good. It is a really, really strong book. And in the Penguin Classic Deluxe Edition, it's lovely. You've got the French flaps and the deckled edges. You've got extensive maps and a glossary of terms and names and whatnot. And you've got in this volume, just like in the other Robert Fagles classic volumes, a huge introduction by Bernard Knox, who's great. And the goal of any Penguin Classic introduction of any of their volumes is to orient you completely to the book before you move on to read it. So that you don't, a classroom in a book, so that you don't need to go elsewhere in order to get your basics down. In the 21st century, there's something feels a little bit redundant about that because you have a supercomputer in your pocket. You can call up Wikipedia and get the same thing. Get a perfectly good orienting study of what you need to know before you launch into reading one of these old works. But at the time that these were made, Wikipedia was either non-existent or in its infancy, and there is something compact to the feeling of having someone as knowledgeable as Bernard Knox introduce you to the world of the Aeneid and the world of Virgil before you go on to the book itself. It's a heavy, well-done thing that works really well. This is the trade paperback version of this that was sold independently. There's also another version of this because Penguin Classics did indeed do a box version of the big three by Robert Fagles. And the Aeneid in that box set with the Iliad and the Odyssey is gray, I believe, not red. Oh. What's up, baby? What's up? What's on your mind? Oh, you're so sweet. You are. Do you want to go over to the chair? This happened yesterday, and the video did not render, so you didn't get to see it. Oh, there's Frida Yoga. Oh. Now, are you going to go over there? You can if you want, or you could just stay here. There you go. You're not going to do it. You're just going to stay here. Yesterday, she jumped over to that chair, and like she always does, and then she goes over there. She sits for a minute, and then she realizes, oh, wait, he's not over here, so I'd better come back over to the couch. Now she's just cutting out the middleman and just curling up right next to me. There we go. But anyway, as I was saying, there's another color for this Fagles Aeneid out there that I wish I had. Little regret from the old book selling days. I was in the bookstores. I was working in a bookstore when that box set came out, and I should have ordered it. I would have got a huge employee discount. I don't have that box set, and I kind of wish I did, just because box sets are neat. That's all. But this has, in other words, everything that you need to tackle the Iliad in English, and also the translation is good. We'll read it's pro forma here. We'll read the opening of Book 1 of the Aeneid, which is famous. Lays out the classic invocation to the muse. Virgil is very much imitating Homer throughout this whole book. The first chapter is called Safe Haven After Storm. Wars and a man, I sing, an exile driven on by fate. He was the first to flee the coast of Troy, destined to reach Lavinian shores and Italian soil, yet many blows he took on land and sea from the gods above, thanks to cruel Juno's relentless rage, and many losses he bore in battle, too, before he could found a city, bring his gods to Latium, source of the Latin race, the Alban lords, and the high walls of Rome. Tell me, Muse, how it all began. Why was Juno enraged? What could wound the queen of the gods with all her power? Why did she force a man so famous for his devotion to brave such rounds of hardship, bear such trials? Can such rage inflame the immortals' hearts? So it's slightly different than typical Homeric invocations of the muse. I would argue, it seems weird to say it for something that's 2,000 years old, but I would argue that it is a more modern vein. That it looks in a light way towards fiction, towards the novels. Because when Homer invokes the muse, he is invoking the muse, make me your vessel, sing through me to tell this story. And periodically, in both the Iliad and the Odyssey, Homer will also stop things and re-invoke the muse. And at every point, he is asking for the muse's help in telling the story. This is a massive story that I have to do. I need your help to do it. Also, those invocations and things like that were also meant to underscore in the mind of the bard's hearers that they were a sacred vessel, and that not only should they be fed and maybe paid, but also that they should be treated well. But you notice that in this invocation, that isn't true. The voice in the invocation here is not asking the muse to tell the story of Aeneas fleeing from Troy. It asks the muse what that story is. Tell me the story. Could this be really true? How could a mortal man make the Queen of Heaven so angry? Slightly different. It doesn't really have a long-term effect on the book, but it, I think, reflects the fact that for Virgil's readers, and also his listeners, he lived off this book. So when bits of it, when sections of it were ready, he would read them. He would give public readings of them, including to the emperor and his family. And I think the reason why the muse here, or why the narrator here is asking the muse the story, as opposed to asking the muse for help telling a story that his hearers already know, is that the hearers don't know this story. And that's fascinating. Again, I think that points towards fiction, towards Once Upon a Time. But the point is it's a good translation, and you've got an excellent introduction here and tons of great supporting material. It's all the classic Penguin classic stuff. So that's your Daily Penguin for today, is yet another Aeneid, yet another one in the Penguin Classic lineup. The Penguin Classic Deluxe Edition is Robert Fagles and is really good. So there you go. I'll wrap this up and we'll go on to the next book, whatever it is. I'll see you then. Thank you, Book 2.